Welcome back to the Inspiration Station and your Everyday Edge podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Mr. U. In case you guys haven't been made aware, we're doing some new things, very different for us, but we're excited about it. All four of our shows on our They Call Me Mr. U podcast brand are all going interview style. So we're going to meet a whole lot more people with compelling stories, life experience, actionable tips and strategies to help you win the day and be the best person you can be, and so much more. So on the Inspiration Station today, we're going to have a little bit of that. But if it's your very first time watching and listening to us, thanks for making us part of your week. We're your station for inspiration and your Everyday Edge podcast. We're going to be hearing some of the most compelling and powerful stories from around the country and around the world. Today is no different. In studio with us, entrepreneur, award-winning international speaker, and author of the Victory Framework, Philip Brittain is in the house. Phil, good to see you, brother. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm great, man. Glad to be here.
Same here, man. Same here. Good to have you on. You are our very first interview on the Inspiration Station, so I'm excited about that. This show is all about inspiring stories and compelling stories, and just kind of sharing the thing that kind of change your world, that can help change our world as well. So we're going to get into that, man. But before we get into that, give us a little background on Philip, where you're from, what's life been like as a young Philip, and how'd you get to where you are today?
Oh man, that's a long story there, brother.
Do your best.
I'm in the Seattle, Washington area, Bellevue, Washington. Born and raised in Eastern Washington, Tri-Cities area, and man, I grew up as the kid that everybody knew and nobody wanted to be around. I was the kid that got beat up, and I was humiliated in second grade, and life was pretty much a living hell for me at school growing up. It was miserable.
Okay. you see me way more adjusted now than then. So I'm definitely excited about that. Now, I know I heard a good bit of your story because we are connected in friendship and in community, so I know a little bit. But I want to kind of get into the story because this is what people that are watching the Inspiration Station want to hear. So kind of tell us, more of your story, flesh it out for us. Take what time you need for that, because I want to do it before and after with you. So go ahead and just kind of share what before looked like. Go into all the gory details if you want to. Then we'll find out how you've been changed and how you got to the place where you are more put together now than you were then.
Fair enough, man. So it really all started in second grade. I was homeschooled until second grade. Parents realized that mom had to go to work, so they were both working, and they had to be up and gone and out of the house by 6 a.m. And I was suddenly the responsible adult at 8 years old. I had to get me and my brother up for school.
Wow, that's crazy.
I was still wetting the bed at age 8. It was my first time at public school. And I had all these nerves and, whatever goes on in an 8-year-old's head, I don't even remember. But I remember it was the second day of second grade, and I wet the bed, and I knew I had to take care of the wet bedding and take off my wet clothes and put on dry, clean clothes and, get the wet, nasty stuff in laundry and get me and my brother to school. So I did that, and I remember getting to school, and I got into the classroom, and I sat down at my desk, which just happened to be in the middle of the classroom. And as the bell rang, I found my desk, I sat down, and it might as well have been Moses parting the Red Sea. Boom. And every single desk just started to back away. And there I was, left in the middle of the classroom. Everybody's pushed their desk away, and I'm sitting alone in the classroom going, what in the world is going on? I did not understand what was happening. The school called my dad. He had to come pick me up, take me home, and get me bathed. The one thing that I did not understand was that I had to clean the urine off of my own body before I went to school. So my dad took me home. He got me bathed. He took me back to school that same day. Here I am. I show up humiliated.
Oh, man. I can only imagine, dude.
From that day forward, my nickname was Stanky. I got beat up every other day after school. when the bell rang, I ran for my life. It was miserable. 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. Halfway through 5th grade, I moved schools and I got a chance to kind of make some changes. But then 6th grade happened. I went to middle school and all those kids showed right back up.
Oh, come on.
6th grade was miserable. 7th grade was miserable. Halfway through my 7th grade year, God did something unique. Somebody introduced me to a Christian rap artist named Stephen Wiley. And he had an album called Wrap It Up. And I remember taking the cassette and I, unfold the jacket. It's like a, mile and a half long, right?
Yeah.
And I'm writing out the lyrics. I get to my desk. I have first period English class, and the most popular girls in school are all in that same class, and they tormented me. And I'm sitting there at my desk. I'm writing out the lyrics to this song, and suddenly my desk is surrounded by the 6 most popular girls in school, and I'm just like going, "Oh dear, here it comes." What are you doing, Philip? What are you doing? Tell us what you're doing. What are you writing? What is that? I'm like, "Oh, no, nothing." And they finally pull it out of me. Well, it's rap lyrics, and oh my goodness, you rap? You're gonna rap for us. Come rap for us.
The entertainer.
Oh my dear Lord. The bell rings. I'm like, oh, whew. Okay. Thank God. Saved by the bell, literally. And they're like, no. We're going to find you at lunch. You're going to rap for us. And they were so insistent. I was mortified. And so the lunch bell rings and I'm playing like 007. I'm hiding behind trees. I'm trying to duck behind benches and I'm trying to hide and not be seen. And they find me, they corner me. And I don't know what happened, but I can only describe it as the Holy Spirit just took over. Because in that moment, suddenly I stood tall and I said, I'll do it. And I reached into my pocket of my memory and I knew every song backwards and forward, side A, side B. I knew it all. I had rapped those songs so many times. And I stood there with all I had and I busted my rap. And the crowd just increased and increased and increased. And I remember one day, so every single day for the rest of my 7th grade year, I would show up at lunch and I would rap. Christian rap. Every single day at lunch. And one day the crowd got so big, the principal and the teachers are all busting in, break it up. What? They thought it was a fight. And so God taught me something in that moment, how to have confidence and stand up and say yes to an opportunity. And that shifted the narrative, the picking on, the bullying, the getting beat up. 80 to 90% of it stopped during that time. And I finally became not so much known as Stanky, but that Christian rap guy.
Okay.
And my nickname
guy
at that time became Philly B.
Philly B. It's better than Stinky, but okay.
That's my rap name, Philly B. Oh my
Philly
goodness.
B.
Yeah.
Your kids have to hear this story about you rapping and being known as Philly B. I want to hear their reaction to this. Your dad was known by Philly B.
They can't believe it.
They can't believe it.
Somewhere I have a folder buried in a box somewhere in a garage that has a folder of original Philly B raps. But that was 7th, 8th.
You didn't rap for your kids yet? Man. You haven't rapped for your kids yet?
No.
All this time? That's why they don't believe. You need to bust some more rhymes, Philly B.
Yeah, that's not happening.
So they're gonna buy into this. They ain't gonna believe it if you don't bust a few bars. Man. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's
do it right now. No, just kidding.
No, you don't want to hear that. I promise you.
I won't put you through that. Tell me this though,
No,
man.
but that was
Tell me your parents. Tell me. Hold on. Tell me your parents' view of this, because you mentioned yourself in relation to the kids in the class and how they treated you. I didn't hear anything about your parents and what they thought about your early challenges. What was their thoughts on it? How did they parent you through this situation? I'm just curious about that.
my parents were great. They, you know, when I got home, I knew they loved me. I knew God was for me at home. But where was God when I went to school? That was
Got it.
my challenge, because at home I had the love of my parents. I knew that God loved me. We were at church 5 nights a week. It seemed like my dad was doing sound and doing men's groups, and he was plugged into the church. And but there was still this stigma. Me and my brother were just hellions. We were rambunctious. We were wild and crazy and loud, and people didn't know how to handle us. And a lot of that was just all of the energy and pain from school that was being translated into this rambunctiousness. Like, I don't know how to deal with it, so I'm just crazy, right? And my parents did the best they could to help us to go to bat for us at school and try to help us not get expelled when we acted out. And, you know, when we were caught retaliating against things, you know, all of the struggles in school of grades and assignments, the stuff that I just wouldn't do, couldn't do, didn't feel like doing. I had a really tough time in school because of all of the pain and things that were happening, that a lot of I don't know if the teachers really understood what was going on, because a lot of it would happen behind their backs, and then I would retaliate, and I was the one getting caught for the retaliation, right?
It's always the second guy. It's always the second guy.
Yeah. So I remember having detention one time. I had this girl behind me, Rachel, and she had this massive fro, and she stabbed me in the back with the business end of a pencil, and I turned around and hit her. And
wow,
we ended up both getting suspended out of that ordeal. Or no, wait a minute. Maybe it was she was picking on me and I stabbed her with the pencil.
Oh my goodness, that changes everything, Philly B.
Actually, I think I'm the one that stabbed her with the pencil.
Wow.
It was brutal. It was mean. It was harsh.
I got a follow-up question because of this now. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Have you ever figured out, I don't think I recall hearing this part of your story. Have you ever figured out what kind of caused the challenges you had early on? I saw how you dealt with it, how you reframed it. I think that was a master class in kind of finding your identity after dealing with, you know, the one that people try to give you. But have you ever figured out what the root cause was for what you were dealing with, the challenge you had early on, the perception you had of yourself? Your family was obviously showing you love at home. Where do you think this was coming from?
Well, I remember when I was proclaimed stanky, all the way up to 6th grade, I remember very clearly that I hated Phil so much because Phil was stanky. And it went so far that during, I think it was my 6th grade year, I tried to convince everybody in 6th grade that my name was now Scott. The entire school year, I went by Scott. Don't call me Phil anymore. I'm Scott. Still had the nickname Stanky, but yeah, I was trying to change my identity because I hated who I was. I hated who everybody thought I was because I was stanky. I was the kid that everybody hated. I was the kid who smelled and was the awkward kid. And you know, I wet the bed and I sucked my thumb, and I was the awkward, self-conscious. I didn't like who I was. I I hated this version of me at the time that everybody else saw, that I thought, that's not me. I don't want this identity. I don't want these labels. I don't want what everybody else says I am. And I was trying to break out of it. And that whole school year, I tried to go by Scott, and it didn't stick.
Yeah.
And then 7th grade, halfway through my 7th grade year, suddenly God brings this whole rap thing into my life, and it began to change my identity. God began to show me that I'm not stanky. I'm not the awkward kid that gets beat up every day. I'm not the lonely, awkward child. I can be somebody. I can be likable. I can be something other than stanky. And that was a major shift in my idea of what could be, what should be, what didn't have to be. And so as I got into high school and I got into theater and drama, that was an escape for me, because I could be someone other than me. I still had all this pain and hatred and anger and resentment and frustration from all these years of being picked on and beat up. And I became really, really good on stage because I could become some other character. I could step into someone else's role, somebody else's life, and I could become that person so that I didn't have to be me, because me hurt too much.
That's really sad, brother. I got a question I got to ask you here, man, because this is not me trying to bring the coach out. This is just a question that it just hit me really hard in the field, especially. This is not to diminish what you went through. It's not to diminish your story at all. What you gave me was essentially half of a sandwich. You said that your mom and dad loved you. You knew that very much so from the beginning. And then you were dealing with the torment from your peers at school. Can you pinpoint for us, for somebody that's watching, listening right now, may have gone through the same thing and may have unresolved issues about that. They may have not figured out that, that person still hasn't been dealt with. They're still kind of just moving on, and he's still alive or she's still alive, and it hasn't been put to sleep like it needed to be. Why was it so easy, in your opinion, to allow all these feelings to be introduced? You had a loving household from your assessment. I don't know what your parents taught you about identity and such, but you knew that you were loved at least.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think you got from the place where you can just go into this place where this hormone can push you so far away from the loving person that they were trying to build up as parents? Are you able to identify that at all? Can you tell what kind of sparked that? Should I rephrase it, or do you think you understand it?
Yeah, a couple of thoughts come to mind.
Okay.
One, there's how do I say this? In the 30s, 40s, 50s, there's a communistic message that, if you tell a lie enough, they begin to believe it. All you got to do is just keep saying it enough, and eventually they'll believe it, regardless of how ridiculous it is. And in fact, the more ridiculous it is, the more they'll believe it if you just keep hammering it down their ideas, right? So take that idea and bring it into and attach it to an actual trauma experience. When you have a traumatic experience like I did, that was so humiliating, And then people assign a label to you, and they keep assigning that same label over and over and over and over. It doesn't matter how good the message is at home. If you hear at home, a few hours a day, yeah, we love you. Mom and dad love you, and they care for you, and they love you. But at school, every single day, you're hearing hundreds of times. You're stanky. You're nobody. You're good for nothing. You're all the names, all the mean things that kids say at school. You're hearing that hundreds and hundreds of times every day. But then you go home and you get, no, we still love you. And that might only be 5 or 10 times a day, right? Or at least experiencing that feeling. But there's a huge dichotomy. There's a massive difference in the messaging that's being told, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how good the messages are at home, if they're few compared to the many at school that you're bombarded with day after day after day after day. Human nature, just because of who we are, we accept the loudest voice. We accept the voices that are so loud and so plentiful. After a while, you become, or you take that identity as your own, whether you want it or not.
Okay. This is not a pushback. I just have a thought, because I try to do this to some degree with my daughters, because I felt like what you were talking about. If I am only complimenting them 5 times and they're being insulted outside of the house 15 times, I need to compliment them 10 more times to make it match or to exceed it. And it's like, I'm not sure that is definitely the answer. Because I know there's times where, as a kid, I see my kids react this way. I see other kids react this way to their parents saying, I love you, like 20 times a day. At around 11 or 12 times, or 13 times, they're like, okay, Daddy, Mom, okay, you love me, I get it. It's not. They don't accept it, especially at a certain age. And when they're younger, they're going to accept it as much as you want to give it 40, 50 times. They'll accept it by the bushel. But if they're a little bit older, in their teen years, you can't do that 20, 25 with them, 20, 25 times with them and think that they're going to just. So I don't know how much it's going to help, but I totally get what you're saying. Tell me what the spark or the turning point, because from what you're saying, there was more of the torment and the vitriol than it was the compliments and the affirmation. So tell me how you got to where you are now, or tell our listeners and viewers, our entire audience, how you got to where you are now. What was the turning point that made you what I would call unshakable?
Well, the short answer is,
I don't want the short answer.
the reality is that it was the work that God did in my heart over a long period of time, and the lessons that He began to teach me. For instance, through that rap, He taught me some very valuable lessons in that rapping experience. He taught me other lessons along the way.
Philly B can never die. Philly B is never gonna die.
I've never told anyone that story outside. I can't believe I just told you that story. But
I'll take care of you, man.
God had to teach me one lesson at a time. And through my thick skull stubbornness and all the pain, God had to work slowly, gently with me to teach me over time. It's taken a lifetime to get to the point where I am today, that I can have the confidence I have to even tell you the stories, right? I even a couple years ago, there's no way I would tell you that story. But God has graciously transformed my heart to encourage me to share my message in hopes that it can inspire others, because there is hope. You can get past that. You can heal from those things. And the victory framework that God kind of came up with and dropped in my spirit is each of these lessons he taught me over a lifetime, slowly. And now I get to put them all together and say, here's the framework. Now we just have to take the time to inculcate those things in our heart, work through them piece by piece by piece. It takes time. It takes effort. It's hard. Thinking is the hardest work there is. That's why so few people do it. That's what Henry Ford said.
Boy.
And it's so true, because we spend so much time, we're acting, we're doing, we're performing, we're doing all these things throughout the day. We're trying to do business, we're trying to excel, we're trying to get the promotion, we're trying to make our spouse happy, we're trying to make the kids happy. We got all these things going on, and what free time we do have, we're sitting doing this, scrolling on our phone, trying to just numb the pain, because we don't know how to sit and feel the things that we don't want to feel. We don't know how to grieve anymore. We don't know how to sit and actually take time to think and process and be quiet.
Yeah.
We don't know how to just be still anymore. So how do we take all of the stuff from life and sit down and actually process it if we won't sit down and process it?
Copy that. Yeah, man.
Right. So the victory framework is literally just the lessons that God taught me in a framework that is easy, that's simple to understand, that's hard to do, but it's simple to understand, simple to implement. And it starts with vision. Next, you have to get clear on your identity. You have to build good character, which builds trust in yourself. You have to learn how to trust others. You have to learn how to trust God. Learn that you can trust God, because all the junk in life, all the things that the enemy tries to use to kill, steal, and destroy all the good things in your life, God can work all of that together for your good on the end. All the crap that I went through, I thought I would never get through. But God now has worked it through so that I can sit here now in confidence and be able to tell the stories that I would never want to tell, because they're humiliating, because they're silly, because they're not nice, right?
Yeah.
But if I can inspire someone else to say, you can get through that, you can have victory in your life, and here's how. Vision, identity, character, trust. The O is operate. Learning how to deal with the pain and the hurt and the unforgiveness and all of the things that we hold on to in life that really cause us to have a rotten attitude, to be angry when things happen. It's because we haven't dealt with stuff in our heart. We've got a hard heart toward people because we are hurting. Hurting people hurt people.
That's all they do.
So operating on the heart, we have to learn how to heal. We have to learn how to sit in and feel the things we don't want to feel. And then the R is relationships, learning how to build good relationships, be the kind of person that others want to have a relationship with, turn down the negative voices, distance yourself from the toxic relationships, say yes to the good relationships, be intentional about good relationships, and say yes to opportunities. You start stacking wins and getting clarity in all these categories. They naturally build confidence at a core level. It's slow. It takes time. It's painful. It hurts, but it's worth it. And when you could come out on the backside and you can have unshakable confidence to stand up and tell your story, to be unafraid, to have actual joy and wonder and peace in your life, you can't put a price tag on that.
You sure can,
It's
man.
amazing. And you can do it. You can have that victory in your life by applying those principles. And that's what I'm here to do, is to give you and your listeners the encouragement to step into that and join me on a mission to do that for others.
Yeah. And you're doing a great job of that, man. I just want to just encourage you. What I also want you to do is let folks know where they can find you and your work. I'll give you a couple of minutes at the end of the show, and you can share whatever's on your heart on that one. But in regards to your story and having the courage to share it, I'm going to tell you right now, some people in the comment section that are resonating with the story. Is definitely hitting them in the fields as well. I think there's some similarities to your story and many others, and they're really, really feeling this. Here's one example of that right now. This is from Raven. Said, I needed this. Thank you for this podcast, Mr. You, and your yes to God. And thank you for your testimony, Mr. Phillip. I did not come upon this by accident. This truly spoke to me. So in the event that you have a memory lapse and you forget why you should be sharing your story, take a snapshot of this. Remember that in your doing so, you're definitely helping other people, myself included. So just want to say thank you for sharing your story. You got a couple of minutes, man. You can let folks know where they can find you and your work. So if you hear maybe they're podcast hosts out here, they may want to have you on their show, or people who may want to grab a hold of some of your work and just follow you and encourage you on the journey, or share whatever's on your heart. You can go ahead and do both. Go ahead.
Awesome. I can be found at philipbrittain.com. I would love to come speak on your stage, tell my story, encourage your audience. If you're event planner or whatever, I can also be found on pretty much any social media platform at the Philip Brittain. IWantVictory.com is my event page. And as a gift for your listeners, if they go to IWantVictory.com/gift, they can take my free assessment that takes 150 questions over 7 categories to help them identify each of the victory framework sections where they can kind of take that next step and focus on certain areas. And if they want more one-on-one, I'd be happy to have some communication and see if I can help them in their situation. They can email me, philip@philipbrittain.com.
Thank you very much, brother, for the courage to come on my show and be the first interviewee to share a story. And you knocked it out of the park, man. People are impacted by it, man. So thank you for the courage. Love and appreciate you, man. And for all you guys that are watching and listening to Philip and his story, thanks for making us part of your week. By all means, please, if you feel like you have an inspirational story, no matter where you are in the country and the world, reach out to me. I'd love to hear it. See if we can have you on the show as well. Entrepreneur, international speaker, award-winning international speaker, life changer, founder of the Victory Framework. Philip Brittain's in the house. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thanks, Mr. Yu. It's been a pleasure.
It's been inspirational. Have a great day, guys. That's Philip. I'm Mr. Yu. We're out.